Good morning. Greetings to you. This is the first time that we are together in the new year. So a very respectful Happy New Year to each and every one of you. Thank you for being here on this morning. I know the weather is a little damper outside, but you know, nothing really stops transportation. Now we get a little ice, things might kind of shut down, but that's about the only thing. Let us go ahead and start with our call to order and a moment of silence. And we will also have a quick prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for allowing us to be able to breathe the air that you have created and be in our right minds. Thank you that we are here and we are destined to be here at this moment. We are forever grateful that you continue to protect us, protect our students that we transport on a daily basis, and protect the parishioners of this district. A lot happens, but we want to pause and say thank you just in this time for you keeping us. I ask that you continue to keep us. Smile upon this department and continue to just guide us along our way so that we can do what we are supposed to do. Protect us. Please continue to protect us. It is in your name that we pray. We are forever thankful. And amen. All right. First things first, we have our Employee of the Month this month. And the Employee of the Month is Miss Judy Moore. Miss Judy, are you here? Right. Congratulations. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm told that Miss Judy was a part of a situation where her swift actions probably saved the life of one of our employees. And we always like to recognize the situations because, you know, those things are kind of near and dear to our heart. Near and dear to our heart. So we want to thank you, Miss Judy, for your swift actions and helping out. Let's give her a round of applause. You know, you can practice for a whole lot of situations, but when it's real deal right there in front of you and you have to act appropriately, you know, it can be difficult. It can be difficult. So thank you. Moving right along, you know, we do our monthly perfect attendance incentive for the month. And the perfect attendance. Now, I want to say this. There were a lot of employees for December that had perfect attendance. There were a lot. So kudos to everyone. Now, I do know that that was an abbreviated month. Nevertheless, thank you for your perfect attendance. Absolutely, right? But we can only do 6 per side, 6 east, 6 west. So let's view those persons that were selected for perfect attendance and will receive a gift card. And to pick up your gift card, you want to go ahead and receive it from your payroll side. From your payroll side. You won't receive them from here today. So we have on the east side, Miss April Gamez. April, you here? Wave your hand. There she is. Hey, Miss April. Got Katie, Miss Katie Lopez. There she is right there, Miss Katie. Thank you much. Miss Sharon Samuel. Miss Sharon. Hey, Miss Sharon. We got Miss Stacy Gonzalez. Miss Stacy, there she is right there. Miss Lisa Garcia. Miss Lisa. Not here right now. Mr. Keith Fuller. Mr. Keith, he's not here either. Okay, continue standing. West side. Mr. Lloyd Crowder. Mr. Lloyd, you here? There he is over there. Sergio, Mr. Sergio Bermudez. Is he here? Not here? Miss Gloria Howard. Hey, Miss Gloria. There you are right there. Miss Shalonda McNeil. I guess Miss Shalonda's here. Miss Amanda Manriquez. Hey, Miss Amanda. Continue standing for me, please. And Mr. Charles Whitsitt. Mr. Charles, you here? We don't see him. All right, let's give everybody a round of applause. Now, if you had perfect attendance and were not selected, can you wave your hand so that we can recognize you? Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. Well, I wish we could give away 100 gifts. Look at that, man. Thank you. Thank you. I wish we could give away 100 gifts. Good job. Thank y'all so much for being here. As you know, your attendance is very vital to what we do. And I just want to make sure that we recognize everything that you do. Your attendance is very vital to what we do. Now, this morning, for our safety time, we have a presentation for you. I want to make sure that you all hear this and get this information. We have some information for you that we feel like it's important that you know about. And it is regarding our global positioning system. Okay? Global positioning system. What is that? That is the GPS systems that we have on all of our buses now. So we're going to present some information to you so that you know how everything works, because there are no surprises. We're not trying to hide anything. This is going to help with our parents, and you're going to hear a little bit more about that as well as Dr. Metcalf comes and gives us that information.
Thank you. Good morning. What we're sharing with you today is the first presentation that we're giving this week. Just so you know, a lot of information is going out to parents this week, to area superintendents, the superintendent, the principals. So the schedule for the week is this. We're sharing it with you. We're going to share the same presentation with the superintendents, with the cabinet members, and that is going to happen tomorrow. And then on Thursday, we're meeting with all of the principals. Every single building principal is going to see this presentation. This evening, we're meeting with some parents that serve on the Superintendent's Advisory Committee, and they're going to be seeing pieces of this presentation. So this is real, it is happening, and the parents are going to start using some of the products in February. Okay, so here's how it works. We know, and camera crews get mad at me because I walk. So we know that we have eSchool. eSchool is the student management software that the district uses. This is where the student schedules are, their discipline, their grades, any services they receive, special education information, you name it, everything on the students is stored in eSchool. eSchool pushes information to the transportation department every night through a file that goes into Edulog. You guys know that Edulog is our routing software. Our routing software pushes information to Synovia. Synovia provides our GPS products. Synovia has two products that we use. Silver Lining is the GPS product that we use in the transportation department. That's what they're logging into in dispatch daily. Here Comes the Bus is an app that you can use on the computer or you can use on your mobile device, your phone. And that's going to be what the parents are using. Here Comes the Bus. So the Silver Lining GPS product that the dispatchers are using and that our office staff is using, that we use, It's going to give us the location of the bus. It's going to tell us activation of the amber lights, deployment of the stop arm, whether the door's open, whether the door's closed, idling. It gives us all these indicators, and we'll go through those here in just a second. It also shows us comparative analysis. Remember when I was telling you that the routing information gets pushed over into Synovia? So we see the planned route versus the actual route that you drove. And that's important. So location of the fleet. This is the screen, one of the screens that the dispatchers can see, and everyone that logs into the program can see in our office if we're trying to find the location of every bus in the fleet. Okay? This is not useful to us, but I wanted to show you that we see every single bus. So as we zoom in, we would see how many buses are at transportation on the west side, the east side, how many buses are on 1960, where exactly they are, and then 30 seconds later, 5 seconds later, depending on what setting we have it on, the buses are going to move. This is showing us, I'm moving again. We have these events, amber lights off, amber lights on, a diagnostic message. There are different signals it can send us about the condition of your bus. Engine on, entrance door closed, entrance door open. A GPS update is when it's pinging, it's sending a signal, hitting the satellite, coming back and letting us know where the bus is. Harsh acceleration, harsh braking. It does idling. There's just an abundance of information that this software provides. And it does it for a lot of reasons. It does it for efficiency purposes. That's one of the reasons the department's going to use it. If we can cut cost, then we're going to find ways to cut cost. If you're that person and you're on the bus ramp and you're idling for 45 minutes and everybody else is doing what they're supposed to be doing and turning their bus off, and you're idling, this is going to send a report that we're going to have to look at and go, ooh, why is this person idling? And then we ask those questions. Is it because their bus won't crank? Valid. Or is it because this person is not following the procedures and the policies that we have in the department? At which case, we need to have that conversation, because that's costing the department money. And every time we're spending dollars that we don't need to spend on something that we don't need to spend it on, like idling the school bus, that's a repair that we could be making to somebody's bus. Dollars matter. So we have this in place, and let me tell you, this is just like the cameras. When the cameras were installed on the buses, it was, ooh, we don't need the cameras. Ooh, I don't want a camera on my bus. But let me tell you how many times we have used this GPS already, and we have covered you, and we have taken care of you. Compass drivers, I know there was one parent that I was working with at Compass, and that parent would call and said, that driver never comes. No, she does not come. And I said, well, as a matter of fact, ma'am, yes, she does. And what it looks like is that she opens the door and she's speaking to somebody, probably, because then she drives up again, she opens the door, she drives up again, she opens the door. So where that bus stop's supposed to be, she's stopping 7 times. So I don't know where exactly your child is, but the driver's there, and this is what time she's there. Talk with the driver. Sure enough, hey, you going to school today? Are you sure? Boy, you better get on this bus. And it happens. And we have the data to back you up, and we have the data to go to bat for you. And it's not a matter of anybody's reputation. It's not a matter of hearsay. We have the data. I talked with a driver yesterday, and actually the driver had been in the office at the time, and one of the principals at one of the campuses was on a bus stomping their foot. That bus did not come through. That bus has not been here. As a matter of fact, sir, it was there at this time. It was there for this long. She opened the door. The door was open for this long. They closed the door. So we're going to go ahead and not send that bus back to your campus today, sir. Thank you and have a nice day. Because the data's there. So we don't have to say, oh, we're doing you a favor, or we don't have to try to cover for you and save relationships. It is what it is, and we all get to make educated decisions about how we're going to handle that situation. And your reputation and your name are not in danger of being tarnished or damaged. And that's a beautiful thing. And neither are ours. So that's a beautiful thing too. And if you see what we have here is the bus is traveling this way. You can see this arrow. It's activated the amber lights, and there's some other symbols here we haven't zoomed in to see. The bus stops. Let's see where we have. Amber lights on, entrance door open, stop arm open, the GPS update because it just happens to be pinging at that time, amber lights off, and then the bus is going to move on. It's that detailed. This is the comparative analysis. Fancy terminology, planned versus actual. So the blue is what is supposed to happen. There's a stop here. The red is real. This is what's really happening. Red is real. That's how I remember that. So there's a bus stop scheduled to be there, and the driver stopped there. It's beautiful. We look down here. Blue is planned. Red is real. There's a stop scheduled for at Friendly and Parker. It's scheduled at 7:44. The driver was there at 7:40. We see this space here. There's no stop scheduled. But there was a stop. So we have to look at that and say, why is the driver stopping there? Are we doing favors? Or do we need to add a stop? It could be either one. And as we move on, you can see that this one is scheduled at Parker and Peach, but the driver doesn't stop there. Why is that? Is it because they know the child doesn't ride? There isn't a child there. We've just left the stop on the route in case somebody moves into the area. There are a ton of explanations on why things can happen. So it's not a gotcha. It's a tool. That's all it is. And when I see something like this, I don't go, shame, shame, shame on that driver. We go, is this something we need to look at? Is it a thing? Is it justified? For instance, this one. Blue is planned, right? So you see, blue is planned. Did the driver stop there? No, there's no red stop sign. Remember, red is real, and this is the indication of a bus stop. There's no red stop sign there saying that the driver really stopped there. Well, it's 3:15 in the afternoon. Should the driver stop there? Well, not if that kid's not on the bus that day. And we roll on. No big deal. It is a tool, and it puts us in a situation to be able to defend you and have your back. That's what it is. You're doing your job, we got you covered. No ifs, no ands. I don't need a statement. We don't need a narrative. We don't have to have a conference. We don't necessarily have to call you on the radio. It's done because we have the data. And you don't have to feel like, well, do they believe me? Do they not believe me? This has happened 3 times in the last 2 weeks. That parent's really nasty to me at the bus stop, but I know that that parent's really nice when they call in, so I wonder what they're thinking. Is this going to cause me to get skipped over for this or this or that? We know, because our everybody's minds work like that. And so this takes all that away. So here comes the bus. This is an application for the computer. It's an application that they can install on their phone. It's free. Apple and Android devices. And this is how it works. So we've made a small video. We're going to Here Comes the Bus. This is if we're logging in on a desktop. The parents are going to create an account. It outlines the steps. And it says if you know that your school code, if you know what your school code is, then click here. And once we roll this out to the parents, they will be provided with their school code, their district code. They're going to key in so that they can move into our little district pocket. And this helps you guys too if you have children and you want to know what time they're leaving the school and if the bus is getting to their bus stop in the evening or in the morning. You create an account. We've used Jacob here. He didn't have an account when we made the video. And we're trying to come up with a password that has all the necessary capitalized characters, length, numbers, new special symbols. It's really quick. It's an easy process. And this, you've got to be aware, this is what the parents are going to be using. This is what they're going to have. So it's really important that we keep our schedules, and it's really important that we have that conversation with the routers so that we can make sure everything's up to date. They're going to enter the student's last name, and it's going to show that they've been added. They can continue to add students if they have multiple children. You'll have a drop-down menu over here that has all your children on it. You'll select time of day as you need certain information. Now what happens here is this is how you set up the notification, and we'll show that to you on this next video. But you can manage your account very quick and easy with the tabs. You can select the language. That's going to be important for some of our parents. You can add students from this screen. It's got frequently asked questions. Okay, so once you have an account, you have to set up alerts. The parents are going to set up alerts. And they set up alerts based on a circle around their bus stop. And they can make this circle big, they can make this circle small. And what we do is we refer to that as the radius. So the radius is half that circle, halfway across the circle. And they can set up at 500 feet, 1 mile, 2 miles. And we're going to try to change some of these settings in the software, but we're not there yet. This is constantly improving here. So we're logging in. I've got my baby loaded. This is my bus stop where my child rides the bus. Now I've got it set up so I get an alert when the bus enters this circle. Well, I need to know when the bus is coming in, so give me some more time. The stop does not have to be in the center of the circle. You can move the stop around. So if you lived at the back of the neighborhood or at the front of the neighborhood, you might want to set that radius up because it's going to send you an alert. It's going to send you an alert when the bus enters that circle. And it'll send you an alert to your phone. It'll send you an alert to your email. You can set it up to send you an alert when you leave the circle or when the bus leaves the circle. And this is where you're setting up those alerts. You send it to your email when it arrives. I send it to my phone when it arrives. In the AM, the PM, if there's a bus substitution and you're normally in bus 500, but today your bus is getting an oil change and you're going to be in bus 600, then the parents will know which bus to look for. I can move between my children because I have a lot of children. But everything is customizable. It's very simple via drop-down menus. I can also look at the history. And so here's the other thing. The parents they can take a screenshot on their phone that says they received an alert on Monday at this time, Tuesday at this time, Wednesday at this time, Thursday, Friday. So they're going to say the bus is not consistent. It's coming in at 5:45 on Monday. It came here at 6:15 on Tuesday, 5:50, 7:20. So it's a tool. They're going to hold us accountable, and we have to be ready for that. And I think we are. I really think we are. When I hear us clearing the high schools at 6:35 and 6:40, then I know that we are off to a strong start in the mornings. When we are taking care of business at the high school, it is putting us on track to have a successful morning, successful afternoon. There are limitations to the software right now. Early release, because we're set on bell schedules. We know that the high school releases every day at 2:35. We're rolling out of there at 2:45. In theory, we're supposed to be. Okay, well, when we roll out of there at 11:30 or 10:45 or 12:30 at the end of the semesters, it's not going to work right because we're not scheduled to be into the school at that time. So we're going to share that with the parents. Early release is an exception. Extended day. We have the children assigned to bus stops. We have them assigned to a bus stop in the morning, and we have them assigned to a bus stop in the afternoon for the regular bell schedule. We're not going to assign the kid to the 5:30 bus stop because that's not the primary bus stop. That's extra. We're focused on the regular instructional day. It's not going to work on Saturday schools. We're not assigning kids to stops and setting all that up in the system for Saturday schools. If they go to grandma's house after school, if they go to a daycare, if it's an employee's child that we're transporting from Stovall over to central office, it's not set up that way because everything is based on the residential address. Take that a step further, it's based on the residential address in the software. Whatever address they have on file with the school is the address that we know to use. If you used to live at this apartment complex and now you've moved to a different apartment complex, we don't know to set you up for transportation at that new apartment complex unless you've updated that information at the school. So addresses are very important. Compass drivers are experiencing the address update situation. The routers working with Compass are experiencing the address update situation, which is a little different, a little more complicated because that's the entire district and it's not set and established routes. But we know that our kids do not always have the accurate addresses in the system. So parents cannot expect that the software is going to work when the address is not correct. If it's an out-of-district campus, for example, if a child goes to ABC West, if they go to High Point, if they're going to Yes Prep, they're not in our system. Not in our system, we can't set you up. Maybe we'll get there, but that is not a primary function that we're trying to accomplish right now. Special needs transportation. We're working on these three. We've got to find some solutions. It may not be in place when we roll it out in February, but that is something that we're working towards. We've got a collaborative, huge collaborative effort that we're trying to work through with our special education department, student services, and transportation. Guys, if we can accomplish what we are trying to accomplish with our special ed department and our student services, we will be ahead of the pack. We will be, when we go to conferences and talk to other districts, we will be so far ahead. And this department will be in such a position to say, hey, we need the old third arm attaboy. And you guys should be so, if we can get this off the floor, off the ground, it'll be great. It'll be great. And when I went with special education, they're like, well, are you sure you only want this information? Because we could give you this, this, and this. I said, oh, I didn't know you guys were going to be so forthcoming. I thought I was going to have to pull teeth to just get a little bit of information. But if we can get all of this lined up, again, technology, working with vendors to make it happen, then we can communicate to the special education special needs drivers. You'll know before you go pick your kid up who they are, where they live, the parents, what their qualifying disability is, if they have a behavior plan, what you need to know about in their behavior plan, so you have all the information you need. You'll know if they're nonverbal. So we're trying to get this in place, but it is a big undertaking, so just be patient with us as we try to make that happen. So right now, special needs, parents will probably not be able to use the software. Pre-K students, you guys know the pre-K students, they ride into the elementary school, but their school code is the pre-K campus, so we've got to find some kind of workaround so that those parents can be notified when the elementary bus is coming to pick up the pre-K kids. Because we've been making it work all these years, but when it comes time to trying to organize that in software, it's not as easy. And the magnet routes. Magnet is magnet, and magnet always carries a whole nother host of special circumstances that we have to figure out how to navigate around. And bus substitutions. So Danita on the east side and then Pam on the west side, this is their area, this is what they do. We don't know, because we have not gone live with it in our department, exactly how some of this is going to play out. But for instance, if we're splitting a route because somebody didn't come to work one morning, and so Route 200 is having to pick up part of it, and Route 201's having to pick up part of it, don't know how we're going to communicate that information to the parent just yet. If the bus goes, let's say you get to Nimitz, Route 400 gets to Nimitz, and the bus won't start. And then we have to put Route 400 on a different bus. if we can't get that in the system when it needs to get in the system, or if they've already jumped on another bus and hauled tail out of there, the parents are not going to have accurate information. They're going to log in, and it's going to look like the bus is still sitting at the school. So not only do you have to be really crisp with what you're doing out there and very structured, we have to organize and get dispatch structured in such a way that they're really crisp and everything's getting done in a timely manner. And that sometimes is quite the challenge in the dispatch office, because there's such a volume of calls and radio traffic and breakdowns and accidents going on. So bus substitutions, it may be a thing for us. And we've talked about residential addresses. This is the email that I receive. Me and Keon is one of my babies. So I'm notified every day when Keon's bus is about to enter that radius, that circle. And this is what the email looks like. This is what the push notification looks like on my phone. And this is what they'll get. And then what we're telling them is, you don't wait on this to go outside. You need to be outside as you normally would. This is a backup. This is if you have a question about where the bus is while you're at the bus stop, you can check this. But we need you outside, not hanging out inside waiting to be notified and then running out to the bus stop. Because what do we know about technology? It always sounds good in theory, right? It's not 100% reliable. Okay. This is what the app looks like on your phone. It's very simple to use. Bus location, notifications, and they can pull it up. So if I hit bus location, I just tap bus location, I pull it up. This is what I see. I see where the bus is, I see where my bus stop is, and I see where the school is. They're red. It's red, and that means that the bus has not been to my stop. That's what it should mean. It should mean that the bus has not been to my child's bus stop. And the school is red because the bus has not made it into the school yet. This one is green. My bus stop is green, the school is green, the bus is still yellow because that's what color buses are. But this tells me that my bus has been to the bus stop. Whether it picked up my kid or not, I don't know, because we track the bus, we don't track the kid. So if my kid was out at the bus stop and he said, and walked off, then my kid is hanging out somewhere, my kid's not on the bus. But this does not tell me that, because we're tracking the bus, not the kid. So it's been to the bus stop and it's been to the school. So here's a demonstration. And what this is going to show you is the desktop version of what the parents will see. They're going to log in. They're going to pick their child that they're trying to find the location of the bus. This is the bus stop. This is where the bus is right now. And let's just say they've set the radius here. They will see that notification, but whoa, where'd the bus go? Where'd the bus go? Well, the bus left. What does that mean? It means it's got another part of the route to do before it comes back your way. But let's say they had the notification set up to say, I need to know when it enters the radius and it leaves the radius. It could have very well entered the radius and left the radius, and then it's going to come back into the radius. So watch. So it's going and picking up across the street from Copper Tree Apartments. And no bus better move this fast, okay? No bus better move this fast. It's sitting in traffic at the light. It's going to come up here and make a right turn. And it's there for a while. It's right there for a while. And this is in the morning. We can see it's in the morning. So it makes a turn and then it stops. So there must have been some traffic, or it's actually making the bus stop. I don't know. But it's in the morning. It's coming. It's coming. Okay, what happened? happened? It drove by the bus stop, but the stop didn't turn green. So let me tell you what that could mean. The driver did everything that they were supposed to do. We see it on the screen. But it didn't stop, it didn't turn green. It may not have turned green because the computer says the bus stop is here, but the driver just stopped a little ahead of it or a little after it. Maybe it was raining and the kids were under some awning, so the driver stopped there and said, come on guys, get on the bus. I'm not gonna make you walk that far. So that's a thing. So now the bus is on the way to the school, and the school is gonna turn green. So to a parent, this, if they're at work and they're at their desk, and so they look later and they say, oh, I got a notification that the bus was in the area, but it didn't stop at my stop. Well, ma'am, like, we'll have to remote in and look at the silver lining piece, the piece that's really, really detailed, and say, as a matter of fact, it did stop. It just stopped just outside of where the bus stop is, or just before or after. So be mindful of that. It's very important that we're using the designated stops. Save yourself headaches, and please save us some headaches, and use those designated stops. And it matters. It matters. If the address says 5715 and you're stopping at 5718, we're going to end up with red stop signs, not green stop signs. So we have to be really crisp with this. Remember, we do have exceptions and limitations. The residential address is important. We're going to try to get it rolled out to special ed as quickly as we can. We're going to try to come up with some solutions for the pre-K situation. We're going to be working through magnet, daycares, Saturday schools, tutorial runs, extended days, early releases. And it sounds like a lot, but that's a small fraction of what we do every day. So it should work for most of our parents. And again and again and again, the application provides information about the bus, not the student. About the bus, not the student. And so that is what we're going to be meeting with the superintendents to share with them. We're going to be meeting with the parents to share the information with them. So we're all on the same page moving forward. If you have any questions, dispatch, we can all help you. Everybody's been trained, and we can walk you through that as needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Metcalf, for that information concerning our GPS system. All right, next up, we have our accident analysis. Mr. DeBose is going to come up, and he's going to compare the accident that we've had from last year to this year by month. He's going to give us the breakdown of that.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Good morning. Before we even get started, let me just tell you about accidents. A lot of people, you might think that when we have accidents, it's almost like we're with Geico, Allstate, whatever. No, we're not like that. Aldine, we're self-insured, which means that if an accident occurs, it comes out of Aldine's budget. And this is what we look at, is the number of at-fault accidents. We're looking at at-fault accidents. We're looking at how much is it going to cost the district. So when we look at that and add all that up, then it looks at, okay, now transportation, is it more so we're liabilities, or are we assets? So this is why when we have accidents, at-fault accidents, some people already know out there that if you get into an accident, Aldine will pay for it. We have a lot of folks out there that will, there was an instance a few years ago where the kid was supposed to get on that bus in that afternoon, but then when the parent was going home on 1960, she found out that that bus was in an accident. So she said, get on the bus, you know, mainly because of that. And we've had another accident maybe about 10 or 12 years ago where we were at fault. And it cost us a lot of money. We were at fault, over $150,000. Then we also had another accident where this person rear-ended our bus. And the parents sat there, they took their kids to the hospital, and they had x-rays and all sorts of things. They say, well, who's going to pay for this? Send it to Aldine, send it to Aldine. They'll pay. Then we're going to get a lawyer and sue Aldine too. But then they found out is that, if someone rear-ends the bus, we're not at fault. So all the bills were coming in, and they would call and say, when y'all going to pay up? And say, well, look, we don't pay. We don't pay because it was not our fault. So therefore, the person who hit our bus, you need to contact him. And just for your information, this person doesn't have a driver's license nor insurance. So it's like, okay. So again, we're looking at liabilities. Now, another thing you might want to look at is this. About how much does it cost the school district on a daily basis to run? We're including salaries, we're including all other departments, salaries for the teachers, bus drivers, meals, the electricity, and so forth. How much you think it costs a day to run Aldine? About $100,000 a day? 55,000? What about $50 million a day? That's how much it costs to run Aldine on a daily basis. About $50 million a day. 50 million a day. That's how much it costs. So when we look at all of that, it's okay, what about these accidents here? It's just a small fraction there, but it does count. If you look at the accidents here, 2012, 2013, you can see that some of the main causes at that time was backing up and it's supposed to be rear-ended vehicles. 2013-14 was backing up, left turns. 2014-15, left turns, backing up. This year, 2016-17, a lot of them were right turns and hitting parked vehicles. Parked vehicles. So that's something that we have to work on. And another thing is that when you go to the academy for training and so forth, this is good for you. This is good. And any of you, if you have some type of a problem with driving or whatever, just go and talk to Rose and Tanya. Just tell them and say, you know what, I'm having some trouble with this. I need a little training on this and that. It's good to have that. And I also need to let you know that our driving academy, even though if you look at it, it's nothing but a little old trailer house. When you walk in there, take about 6 steps, you're going to hit the wall, and you only have 2 people there. A while back, Mr. Kelly and I went to a school district a lot larger than Aldine, and we were like comparing notes. We visited their academy. Instead of 2 people in Aldine, there were 6 people. Instead of 1 phone, which the academy has in Aldine, there were 6 phones. Instead of a little mobile trailer home, they were in a real building. And we asked them, said, what do you all do on a daily basis from 6 o'clock up until whenever? And they let us know what they did. And we looked at each other and said, is this all you do here? Whereas we went back and reported as to what the people did here in Aldine, the academy, those 2 ladies run circles around 6 people, as well as 6 phones and various other things. So when you go to the academy, just don't think of just being a little shack there. They do a lot of work in that department, a lot of work considering the space that they have and the other constraints that they have to deal with. So that's a comparison there. But again, parked vehicles is something that we have to watch when it comes to making right turns. And as you can see earlier, you don't see anything about parked vehicles. Left turns, backing up, that's pretty typical. Now, the other thing here is that we had like 17, then 11, and then 15. Now, when you look at the details of it, it's not the fact that these are new drivers, these experienced drivers, it's inconsistent. So like if we look at the 15 accidents, if you look at the people, it's not like these folks were all new drivers. It's a variation there. So one of the main things is that when you come to work, just stay focused, and that should cause some type of prevention. But at the same time, our goal is always to get 0. And as you can see, for the years around the same time, from August to December, you have 17, 11, 11, 15, which is about right there. But we want to be close to 0. We want to be close to 0. And as you know, if some of you know me, I can talk a lot. But another thing is that we have our accident review board. Some of the punishments may be a suspension, training, and so forth. Now, this happened a long time ago with this driver. He ended up being at fault in an accident. And when he received his 3-day suspension, he said, "Oh, this is not right. This is not right. This is not fair. This is not fair." And then I talked with him, and I told him, I said, "What do you mean when it's not fair?" "Well, I got 3-day suspension for this." I said, "Okay, let's just say that you make $100 a day. That's $300, right?" Then I showed him the information about his accident. I said, "Look at the accident right now. This was only a week ago, and so far your accident is approaching $20,000. And we have 2 lawyers want to sue you too." I said, "So do you want to take over this, or would you be satisfied with the 3 days?" He said, "I'll be satisfied with the 3 days. I'll talk with you later." So again, there's a lot of things that go on that you don't know. So in the future, just drive safely and try to be as careful as possible. Thank you.
It's all good. Let's give it up one more time for Mr. Al. Mr. Al, I don't know if you know it. A lot of you guys are new, but he is our 20-year veteran here in the Transportation Department. Thank you, Mr. Al. Perfect segue. Let's keep this in mind. Questions that you want to keep in mind when we're talking about accidents is, are the at-fault accidents down? At fault means a lot, okay? Means that we are at fault. Are we being more attentive in preventing accidents? Because a lot of accidents can be prevented. Even accidents, some accidents when we're rear-ended can be prevented. Some of them can. Did we turn on our signal light ahead of time to let the driver behind us know that we were turning? Things of that sort. If we do it properly, some of those accidents we can prevent. The third one, am I an attentive driver helping to reduce accidents? Am I complacent? Have I been doing this so long that it's just routine and I'm just complacent? Because that's when things happen. So keep those things in mind, and that will help us keep our accident count down. And speaking of the Driving Academy, I don't know if you know it, but our Driving Academy is one of the best kept secrets here in Houston and probably Texas. It really is. For the amount of work that they do and the things that they do in the academy, they are one of the best kept secrets that we have. A lot of districts come to us for help with their academies. When they're either starting them or they need some advice, they come to us. And with that being said, one of our very own, Miss Tanya Smith, she spent her entire weekend interning at another school district to be a trainer instructor. And I am proud to announce that she is one of the only 9 people in the state of Texas that is now an instructor for the state of Texas in Driver Trainer Academy. Miss Tanya Smith, she's up there in the corner. Let's give her some kudos, y'all. And y'all know she works real hard at what she does, and she works for us. So congratulations to you, Miss Tanya. I tell you what, you're a shining star in our transportation department. Thank you so much for your service. Absolutely. Moving right along, there are a couple of announcements that we want to make sure that everybody can hear and understand, and they relate to the handbook. Okay? And the first one reads, an employee who fails to call in at the specified time, when and if they are going to be absent, or does not call in at all, is subject to progressive disciplinary action. Additionally, a late call out will result in being docked for that portion of the day. Now remember, when we make these announcements, this is not to single anybody out, but most likely there was someone that is no longer a part of our department because of a situation like this. And so we always highlight it so that we can try to prevent someone else from doing it. The second one says, protocol for removing students from a bus. School administrators, i.e. principals or assistant principals, are the only ones that have the authority to remove a child from the bus. Remember, our protocol is if you're dealing with difficult students and it's unsafe for you to transport them and you need to take them back to the school, go ahead and call dispatch. If you're traditional, you call dispatch. If you're special needs, you call the special needs department. Ms. Linda, Ms. Martha, Ms. Marari, and you let them know what you need to do. Especially if you're special needs, because there are times that behavior takes place and it's associated with that child's disability. Why is that important? If you remove a child and it's associated with their disability, we are then denying them their right to transportation, which falls under education. What does that mean? That means we are setting ourselves up for a lawsuit. We have to be very careful. When a special needs driver calls a special needs department and they call the school, our special needs department in turn talks with that diagnostician who knows that child's condition and lets us know if that behavior is appropriate, tied to their special needs situation, or if they are being irate. And if they deem that they are being irate out of the norm, then they'll remove them. We can't take it upon ourselves to do that, okay? Traditional, same thing. We cannot put students off the bus. When we return to the school and we're waiting for the school administrator, when they come out, then they can remove a student from the bus after we tell them the behavior that's displayed. And they always, always, always request camera footage. Always. So make sure that the student is behaving in such a way that it deems them to be removed from the bus. Is Miss McKenzie here? She's not here? Okay. Lady on the west side. A couple days ago, had a couple parents come to the office and they were upset because their children had to go back to the school, and when they got to the school, the children were removed from the bus. Well, parents didn't know that. All they know is when they pulled up, it was dark, there was not an adult outside, and the kids were there. And so as I'm listening to the parents be upset and vent and do all of this, I said, ma'am, are you sure that there wasn't a school official there? Because we don't put children off of the bus. Our protocol doesn't say that. Well, when I pulled up, my child was there and I know it was dark and nobody was out there watching them. I said, ma'am, is there a possibility that the school official was inside of the building but had eyes on them? Well, you're at fault. I'm saying there was not an adult outside, and if it's the school's fault, your transportation and you're a part of it as well. Well, she had the two young men there, and they were middle school age. I said, let's hear from them. Young men, can you tell me what happened? Yes, sir. We were on the bus, and there were some kids that were acting up. And so the driver, she got on this radio, and she called in, and she said she was going to take us back to the school. So when we got back to the school, I asked the driver, could I get off the bus and wait on my mom? Because she could get there faster, because the bus was going to have to take the route home. It's going to take us longer to get home. The driver told us that she couldn't let us off the bus. When the school administrator came out, let me back up. They said when the school vice president came out, I said, hold it. So you mean to tell me that there was a personnel from the school that came out to the bus? Yes, sir. They came out and we asked them, could we stay? Because mom could get here faster. And I looked at the parents. I didn't say anything. I just looked at them like, Yeah. Okay, carry on. Tell me what else happened. And so we waited, and they were there with us the whole time, but they were sitting inside of the school. And I looked at the parents again. Thank you, young man. And then mom was like, you know, she had that shame look on her face. And I'm shouting out Mackenzie because she was the driver that did everything that she was supposed to do. And we could have her back in that situation because she followed the protocol. And she was not in the wrong. And so I'm saying, if you follow protocol, we can stand the bat for you all. Just remember that. That's why we're going over this stuff. The last one says, check the bus for the students. At the last stop of each run or nearest safe place to park, set the brake, close the door, and walk the bus to look for sleeping children in the seats and on the floor. Very important. Most people do it after they drop off at the school. They pull up out of the way of the buses that are still loading. Still unloading. They park the bus and they walk it to make sure. When I was driving out of Dunn, it's kind of congested in that parking lot. So I would pull up away from where everybody else was unloading, park my bus, and I'd go walk that bus. And there were times that I found a child asleep on the back seat or under the seat. Don't know how he got there. So it's very important that you do that. Very, very important that you do that. Last thing, absolutely. Naturalization is tomorrow. If you can at all possible, avoid the area. You know how naturalization is. And the very last thing I'll say before you are dismissed, we will be holding a candlelight vigil for all Cowboys fans over here for special prayer. If you need it, just come on over and we will do that for you. Okay, right over here in this corner. Y'all have a great rest of the day.